Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. Thank you for stopping on my space today, and if this is your first time of coming across my channel, you definitely want to hit on that subscribe button because it's never going to be a thing of regrets. So in today's video guys, I'll be sharing with you all how to draft a basic short sleeve and also fix it to your top. So I did all of this right here and you can see how neat and nice it's looking. So I'm going to make this as detailed as possible, so please do pay close attention to every detail I'll be giving out in this video, and you're definitely going to achieve exactly what I have right here. So firstly, to get started, I have my brown paper or my pattern paper with me. So I went ahead to cut out the size that will be enough for me to draft my short sleeve, and of course you can see that is on fold. So I'm just going to get started by rolling a line at the top of my paper, and that is going to be my starting point. So I'll mark this line across and all my measurements are going to be starting from that line. So the first thing which I'm going to mark here now, okay, leave about 3/4 or 1 inch at that top part, okay, depending on your wish. So the first thing I'm going to mark after that now will be my cap size. So I usually work with a cap size of 3 inches, okay. So I marked that 3 inches and extended it into a straight line. So after that, the next thing I'm going to mark now is the length of this sleeve I'm working with. So the length of this sleeve is 7.5 inches. So I'll also extend that point into a straight line. So after that, I'll also go ahead to add my my hemming allowance of 1 inch, okay. So all of these points, I connected them into a straight line. So after this, now the next thing I'm going to do is from on that point where I marked where my cap size stopped, I'm going to go in like this by 4 inches. So that line, that point I made right there, remember what I did? I told you is my cap size, and I will go ahead now to use my curve through and connect from the first line, which is my starting point, all the way down to this my cap size length. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take my armhole measurement right here. So the armhole measurement I have is 8 inches, and I'm going to add extra 1 inch, which is going to be for my stitching allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my bicep. I usually don't mark my bicep, but trust me, it's really important. But I usually don't mark it because at the end of the day, I end up getting what I wanted. So it's not too compulsory to mark your bicep, okay, because once you get your appropriate circumference, you are going to be okay with your sleeve, okay. So every explanation I give is out of what I've experienced, okay. So just keep watching what I'm doing and you will see that I'll also get the perfect shape of what I want. So on my full sleeve length, I went ahead to divide my circumference, that's my arm circumference, into 2, and also add 1 inch for my stitching or sewing allowance. So guys, that is all for drafting a short sleeve. The next, I'm going to go ahead now to cut out exactly the same way I drafted. You can see, and I spread this out, you can see what I have. So if this looks exactly like what you got after drafting your square. So the next, I'm going to cut on my fabric. So here is the fabric I'm working with, and I'm simply going to fold this right here. So I'm going to fold into 4, so I don't have to go on ahead cutting this twice, okay. So I went ahead to fold the first fold from the edge of my fabric, I folded again. So by the time I cut this out, I'm going to be having 2 sleeves. So I'll go ahead first and pin this in order to avoid this my paper from shifting from my fabric. So I'll just cut exactly what I have right here, and at the top area I'm actually going to leave about 1/2 inch. Please do leave 1/2 inch. You can see what I did right there, and also notch. So I'm also going to be making use of this same fabric as my lining. That is why I'm cutting this out into 4 pieces. So I'll cut this out exactly the same way I've cut for the first part already, and after cutting, So I'll also notch the center and or the midpoint, and you can see what I have. So I'll be using one part of this fabric as my lining piece, and the other one will be serving as my main fabric. So but to differentiate my lining piece from my fabric, there is this trick I usually do. I always reduce my lining piece by half or 1 inch from my actual fabric. This is because by the time I end up stitching all sides, I'll have my fabric inside. So just keep watching and you understand what I mean right here. So on this my full sleeve, I'm going to reduce it by half of an inch, and I'm going to cut this out. So I'll do this for the two sleeves by placing them together and also reduce this by half inch. Please do note that I said that I'm using this same fabric as my lining piece too, okay? So after reducing this, if I'm to place this on my actual fabric, you realize that this fabric I'm using as my lining piece will be shorter than my actual fabric. So I'm going to go ahead now firstly to stitch the down side or the full or the base of my sleeve like this, and I'll carry this up and stitch the armhole area. I'll stitch the sides and leave about 1 inch at the sides where I will turn out from. So I've gone ahead to stitch all of that part, and I left one part open, and from that part you can see that I'm going ahead to turn this to the right side of my fabric. So after turning this out, please do ensure you go ahead to iron. So you can see that because I reduced this by my lining piece by half of an inch, my fabric came inward. If you look properly, you understand what I mean right there. So you can see there. So the more inches you reduce, the more inside your fabric will be, okay? So the next thing, I went ahead to fold this into two and mark 1 inch, which I gave this for my stitching allowance, and I've gone ahead now to stitch down that 1 inch. So this is the wrong side of my fabric or my lining piece. Let's just call it my lining piece. So the next, I'm going to be fixing this sleeve to my top. I fixed one part of my sleeve to my top, and you can see the outcome, very nice and neat. So I'll be sharing with you all now how I fixed my sleeve. So I'm going to turn this my top to the wrong side, and I'm also going to get my sleeve, and I'm also going to turn it to the right side first. So I'm going to ensure that I open up the allowance both on my sleeve and on my top. So I'll open it up this way, and I'm going to pin it down first. So I'm pinning this the right side of my sleeve to the right side of my top. So you can see that I took this inside, okay? So the right side is what I'm pinning. So it's more like the wrong side of my top is what is facing the camera, and I'm pinning the right side of my sleeve to the right side of my top. So just watch closely what I'm doing right here, and you understand the explanation I'm giving. So I'll go ahead and pin this all around, but before that, I will get the part where I notched on my sleeve and pin it together with my shoulder. Then every other thing is going to correspond, and I'm going to pin this all around my armhole area. So that was what I did to get my other sleeve, and so here is the outcome. So thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate, and if you've come this far watching and you're yet to subscribe, please kindly do so. I share more interesting sewing tutorial videos right here on my channel. See you next time, some other time. Bye.